Theories if Jesus was a woman. Have you ever considered atheism? Did St. Nicholas really punch Arius in the face? What is your biggest dream as a Catholic? Hey guys, it's Lizzie. Today we're doing another Ask Lizzie video. I got all of these questions from my Instagram. So definitely follow my Instagram. I post pictures and go on spiritual rants. So my Instagram is a huge ministry thing, not just posting hiking pictures arbitrarily. It is just my first and my last name, and my Twitter is also LizziesAnswers. If you are new here, welcome to my channel. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button next to the subscribe button, and that will give you notifications every time I upload a new video. Also, my Patreon is linked below. I follow on social media everyone who is a patron. Even if you just like and comment on a video or share my channel with one of your friends, I super appreciate all of your support. I love you guys so much. First question is from Solara XO. Have you ever considered atheism? I am currently struggling with Christianity. Yes, I did consider atheism really strongly when I was in high school because I went to a very liberal arts high school and pretty much everyone was atheist or agnostic, didn't believe in God, so I really had to study in depth all the arguments for Christianity when I was 15, 16 years old. But again, in 2016, after I'd been through a really long depression episode and was really struggling with the problem of evil and just seeing so much horrific violence going on in the world, it got to a point where I was about to leave Christianity. I stopped going to church. I stopped praying or talking to God at all. I think I was really angry at God, but it got to the point where I was so hurt that I was just apathetic and I didn't want it to be true, and I was veering so close towards that. And I made a lot of videos at the time for why I stayed Christian and arguments for Christianity, so I made a playlist of all of those videos and I'm gonna link it up here and below. Did St. Nicholas really punch Arius in the face? Yes. I mean, I don't know 100%, I don't think anyone knows 100%, but I think it really did happen because there was another council called the Council of Ephesus, the first council of Ephesus, and they physically started fighting and had to end the council early. So I think that easily it could have been recorded who punched who in the face. But it could also be a legend, but I want to believe it's real because I think it's really cool. And when I have kids and a family, we're going to celebrate Christmas by having a piñata of Arius and like hitting the piñata. And I don't think that's promoting violence. I think that's just teaching theology and informing children. Let me know if any of you will make that part of your holiday traditions. Gabby Bai says, would you ever do meetups for mental health people in LA? Yeah! Travis says, theories if Jesus was a woman. What are your thoughts on that? So God is not male or female, God the Father. There are metaphors of God being female in the Bible to describe and explain God's love for us. But Jesus, another part of the Trinity, did choose to come down to earth as a male, and that was intentional. And so a lot of churches that are more liberal leaning have started changing the Our Father prayer to Our Mother, changing His kingdom come to His kinship come. And I think that those are really horrible changes that don't need to happen. I think that Jesus gave us the Our Father prayer the way it was for a reason. And so I don't find it offensive as a female that Jesus came unto earth as a man and that we're supposed to pray to God as God the Father. That doesn't mean that God is a gender. I know when Ariana Grande's song came out, everyone was freaking out like God isn't a woman, even though the song was a complete metaphor. So I hope that answers your question. Ali Goldie says, have you ever thought about visiting the Holy City one day? Yes. Trevor and I, when we get married, our honeymoon is going to be going to Rome and going around looking at all the church art. So yes, we're going to go to Rome and we're really excited about it. Going along with this, someone else asked, when would you like to get married? So I talk about Trevor so much in my videos. You guys follow Trevor on his social media. We've been dating for 2.5 years and we've had a timeline set up for quite a while. So in a year, we're going to get engaged, and then the next year we want to get married, but it might extend beyond that just because planning a wedding is very stressful and chaotic, and both of us, I know I would view it as kind of a waste of time because I just want to be working constantly. I don't want to have to do wedding details. So we might do a long engagement and kind of push it back. It depends on how busy each of us are in our careers at the moment, but definitely in the next 2 years, we're going to get married. And I'm really excited. I definitely want to have a child and be pregnant by the time I'm 27, 28, and I'm 25 right now. So definitely coming up, and I'm going to take all of you guys along on the journey of engagement, wedding planning, all of that. Fatima Cruz says, what is your biggest dream as a Catholic? So I am already living out my biggest dream as a Catholic. I get to interact with my favorite saints in prayer. Irenaeus, Augustine, St. John, the Evangelist, St. Paul, Chrysostom, Jerome, all of these people who I read their writings, who are so powerful figures in church history, who I'm so inspired by. In the case of St. John, reading his words in John 6 about the Eucharist and a lot of other things in his gospel are the reason I was able to convert into Christianity, same with Irenaeus, and the fact that I can ask them to pray for me and that I've experienced their interventions in prayer and get to rely on them, the fact that they love me so much, care about details of my life, and want to spend their time in heaven just praying and praying and praying for us, the fact that I get to be part of the fellowship of the saints is so epic. And the fact that I've gotten to venerate and kiss relics of the saints on earth and just see them and pray in front of them and know that they are real people in heaven right now, alive physically with us, it's just the most amazing, beautiful thing. And that's my dream that I'm living out right now as a Catholic. That's the thing about Catholicism. Heaven and earth are connected. So we're already living as if we are in heaven. What is the hardest part of recovering from manic episodes if you have bipolar disorder? So I think the hardest part is that you crash down into depression if you are unmedicated. Usually after you're manic, you crash into depression. So for me, it almost feels like being punished for being manic, and you go from feeling on top of the world and you have this drug high essentially and so creative, so much motivation, so much zeal and passion for life, and you go from that into complete lack of all feeling, lack of motivation, exhausted, needing to sleep 12, 15 hours a day. So the contrast is horrible. Like, it's one thing to be in depression, but it's another thing to go from the adrenaline, exultation, joy of mania into depression. I think that the hardest part too is you look back on those periods and you don't know what is real and what's not real. So if you were in a romantic relationship when you were manic, you look back at that time and you don't know if you actually loved and were attracted to the person or if it was just because you were manic. Even things like a particular class I was taking or a professor I loved, I wonder, was I actually that engaged and that excited about it, or is it just because I was manic? And so apply this to every single part of your life. You don't know what's real. That's really hard to grapple with. And then things that you did when you were manic, like getting in fights with friends or doing anything else embarrassing, having to recover from that and having everyone in your life not understand and not be able to overlook it or forgive you all the way is also really hard. COXLIE, what is the best book you'd recommend to learn about church history? So it is called Church History by Eusebius. He is a 4th century church historian, and he basically has collected every single primary document that existed at the time, talking about the entire history of the church. And it's the best book ever. You will cry, you will laugh, you'll fall in love with all of these real Christians who set up the precedent of the church and who died for the faith, who were martyred, killed because of persecutions. So you'll literally fall in love with everyone and with, yeah, you'll cry so many times too. It's so good, like cry out of sadness, out of horror, out of joy, out of beauty. So Church History by Eusebius, I'm gonna link it below, and I have an entire Amazon shop. I'm gonna link it below, but I have virtual bookshelves of so many dozens of books that I recommend, so that is linked below. And let me know if you want me to make an entire video just sharing my top 10 or top 20 favorite books. That might be something that you guys want to see. Let me know in the comments. Sophia says, what is the hardest thing to deal with for being Catholic? Probably having to go to confession. I think that It involves constantly contemplating and analyzing your life and then having to say out loud what you're most ashamed about, and just being consistent in finding a confession time that works for you. Just because they don't have that many confession times, you have to find Saturday afternoon, what specific time. When you're traveling, it can be difficult. So I'm not at all complaining or saying that that's hard, but I think of all the sacraments, confession is the one that's the hardest to do. But it's also one of the most beautiful, healing. I find so much joy in confession, getting to interact with Jesus as a physical person. It's so amazing, and every time I go out of confession, I feel so free and joyful, and I love getting to pray to God after confession, and obviously in confession, because the priest is Jesus in that moment. But I think most people would agree that's one of the most painful or hardest parts. And also during Mass, when we say, I confess to the Almighty God and to you, my brothers and sisters, that I have greatly sinned in my thoughts and in my words, in what I have done and in what I have failed to do, through my fault, through my most grievous fault. That is also the hardest part of being Catholic, having to say that every time I'm at Mass. It's painful admitting that in front of everyone, even though we're not even having to say specific sins. Like in the early church, they did that prayer and they did confession as a group collectively. So yeah, confession, I guess, is the hardest part. Malin213 asks, what are some of your favorite baby names? Just curious. So when it comes to aesthetics, as in like decorating a future house or baby names, I don't really have strong opinions on that. So Trevor has kind of been imagining and coming up with baby names. He definitely wants to name one of our sons Augustine. And I'm so down for it because it's his patron saint. So we're gonna definitely pick Catholic names, but not like overly Catholic names as to embarrass a child. I'm definitely going to kind of like put my foot down if it's a really bizarre name like Chrysostom or Maxima. Actually, Maximus could be a good name, but you know what I mean? Not like weird names. One of my favorite female baby names is Estella. I just love the name so much, and then you could go by Stella or Ella, but that's not a Catholic name. So Trevor might be like, no, Lizzie, we're not allowed. We have to pick a Catholic saint name, but who knows what we'll decide. Jimmy Lance 9028, how long have you been Catholic? So I was confirmed in 2018 at the Easter Vigil Mass. So on April 20th, 2018. I was totally wrong. I just checked my Twitter because I have pinned on my Twitter the day I was confirmed in the photos. It was actually April 1st of 2018. It might have been, let me check real quick. I'm so curious now. I'm gonna go back to 2018 and see the day that Easter was on. Okay. April is Easter. Okay, so I was confirmed on March 31st, 2018. I should have this memorized. I'm horrible. I'm gonna add it to my calendar. March 31st. Lizzie became Catholic. Repeat every year. And repeat, never add. Okay. So now I'm so happy this was the question. Now I can remember forever. Galia G08. Do you think that Catholics and Orthodox Christians will ever overcome our differences? No, I never think that we will reunite, just because there's so much long history involved and there's so many different churches within the Orthodox Church that would all have to together decide. And I mean, I pray about it. So many people pray and pray and pray consistently to reunite. So it would be the most giant, epic miracle. And I think that so many Protestants would convert into the one true church because of it. But I mean, in the past century, the popes have been making so many huge steps and leaps and bounds in talking to the Patriarch of Constantinople, Bartholomew. Last century, for the first time ever since we split, the Pope and the Patriarch met together. So there have been huge strides recently, so like it could happen next century, it's possible. but I think it's impossible without God. It would involve a lot of prayer and miracles and rosaries and like so many saints intervening and praying and praying and praying. I'm sure in heaven right now, saints are praying and praying and praying. Do you have any advice for overcoming pornography addiction? So I made an entire video on pornography addiction and the church's view on masturbation. So I'm gonna link that up here and below. The video was sponsored by a company called Covenant Eyes, and they have a software that really works in helping you quit porn. So I have a promo code you can use to get 30 days free, and this video isn't sponsored, but that video was. So I do recommend the software Covenant Eyes. It has helped thousands of men and women quit pornography. Again, if you are new to my channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell button. If you've been here for a while, why have you not turned on notifications? YouTube may never show you my videos if you don't hit the bell button. Thank you so much for being here, being one of my subscribers, and supporting me so much. Again, happy Advent. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!